Hello, military and aerospace enthusiasts. Welcome to our channel, Deep Dive Defense. Over here we take a deep look from unusual angles, which may challenge your mind. So let's dive right in. Today's topic is the Sejil solid-propellant medium-range ballistic missile, which was considered Iran's most advanced ballistic missile for a prolonged period. The requirement for a missile like the Sejil emerged during the early 2000s Bush era, when there was a significant threat of conflict with the United States. Iran wanted a 2,000-kilometer range missile capable of attacking targets throughout the region, while being largely immune to preemptive airstrikes. In the 2000s, Iran's air defense capabilities were limited against the full capacity of U.S. air power. When the requirement for such a missile was set, General Hassan Tehrani Moghadam, known as the father of Iran's ballistic missile program, had just led the development of the Fateh short-range ballistic missile to completion. Advancing from a 250-kilometer missile to a 2,000-kilometer one required a monumental effort. Iran could not cooperate with other countries for the Sejil's development. China withheld its DF-11, DF-15, and DF-21 ballistic missile technologies, and North Korea lacked expertise in solid-propellant ballistic missiles, lagging well behind Iran in this field. Russia had also denied Iran Iskander short-range ballistic missiles, forcing Iran to develop the technology indigenously. The then IRGC's Air Force, not yet Aerospace Force, self-sufficient jihad organization, had to overcome several technological challenges to develop such a missile. The first requirement was a two-stage layout. Iran's motor casing metallurgy couldn't support a cutting-edge single-stage layout, not even achieved by more advanced similar missiles like the U.S. Pershing II. The Sejil project, known under the codename Ashura, initially attempted to increase the diameter of the Fateh 110 motor and lengthen it to create a first-stage booster. The second stage, similar in dimensions to the Fateh 110, was equipped with aerodynamic steering fins as the method to steer the entire missile. This low-end solution built on existing low-risk technologies, incremental advancements beyond the Fateh 110. However, this initial prototype variant of the Ashura project was not accepted due to the high-end threats posed by the United States during that era. One major concern was boost phase interception, including directed energy weapons disabling the missile before it reached the safer high altitudes. The revised Ashura project required vertical launch for quick exit out of the atmosphere and the hot staging method for a quicker boost phase. The motor diameter was to be the same 125 centimeters as the Shahab-3 and Ghadar ballistic missiles, and relatively long. This required subsystems able to handle combustion instabilities and the vibrations they cause, including sensitive ones like the guidance system. To achieve the required diameter and length, yet still remain within a required empty mass limit, improvements in steel alloys were essential for the motor casing. Lower performing steel alloys from the Fateh 110 would increase the motor casing's empty weight, the dead weight, significantly reducing the performance necessary to achieve its 2,000-kilometer range. The second stage also required a thrust termination system to place an unguided re-entry vehicle within the right velocity window to hit the target with a militarily useful circular error probability, CEP, as the capability to target military objects was a key requirement for the Sejil. To incline the vertically launched Sejil into a ballistic trajectory, a thrust vector control system was necessary as well. The quick boost phase requirement precluded launching it on an inclined trajectory which could work with aerodynamic fins only, as used on the mentioned first prototype. A proven technology for thrust vectoring, already used in the U.S. Pershing I and later the Chinese DF-11 and DF-15 ballistic missiles, was the jet vane technique. However, using jet vanes in a solid propellant missile with corrosive aluminum particles in the propellant mixture presented a significant challenge, which Iran ultimately solved. It is assumed that a suitable resistant material for the jet vanes and a less erosive fuel mixture contributed to this achievement. Some innovations used in the Sejil were unusual, like the pods around the nozzles housing the thrust vectoring jet vanes and their actuators. This design choice aimed to meet high-performance requirements by increasing the nozzle exit diameter for higher efficiency and specific impulse. In summary, the features incorporated into the Sejil allowed for high initial acceleration and a vertical ascent, the quickest way to exit the atmosphere. The staging of the Sejil missile was designed to be as quick as possible, with the second stage firing using the hot staging method and retro boosters on the first stage, decelerating it to enable instant separation. Integrating all these technological breakthroughs lead to the creation of the final Sejil prototype. U.S. intelligence reports from the mid-2000s mention testing a single-stage solid-propellant missile called Ashura, likely the initial testing phase for the Sejil. As a solid-propellant missile, the Sejil is operationally highly responsive and can be stationed in remote areas on constant alert, using a transporter erector launcher that requires no fuel vehicles and can be disguised as a single civilian truck. The guidance system of the Sejil is believed to be similar to that used in the Ghadar ballistic missile. Combined with the thrust termination of the second stage, the re-entry vehicle achieves sufficient accuracy, particularly when using submunition payloads or salvos of unitary warheads against high-priority targets. One key high-priority target for the Sejil, and a possible key motivation behind its development, might have been the Jericho-2 nuclear ballistic missile launch sites in Israel. A large quantity of Sejil missiles on alert could potentially degrade Israel's ability to launch nuclear ballistic missiles against Iran. These features created Iran's first on-demand ballistic missile capability, enabling strikes on any regional target as necessary. The first official launch and successful test of the Sejil took place in 2008. With a range of 2,000 kilometers and a 650-kilogram warhead, the Sejil boasts high survivability, as it can be stationed deep inside Iran, far from the border, and dispersed around the mountainous Iranian heartland. A substantial force of Sejil missiles would not only threaten Israel's nuclear ballistic missile arsenal, but also enable attacks on radar systems associated with Israel's ballistic missile defense system like the Arrow-2, pending intelligence information regarding their locations. These radars of such missile defense systems are highly static and require days to be redeployed, making them vulnerable to a salvo of Sejil with exo-atmospheric released heavy submunitions, enabling damage or neutralization of these high-value fragile assets critical for missile defense. Unlike Iran's large liquid propellant ballistic missile arsenal, which needs to be fueled and put on alert to pose a credible threat to regional adversaries, the Sejil has no such limitations. It can remain on alert for extended periods, adding a crucial capability to the IRGC Aerospace Force's missile force structure. However, the downside of this capability is the limited lifespan of solid-propellant ballistic missiles, which typically last around 15 years before needing propellant replacement, a process that requires significant effort and cost. As a result, the Sejil is a special-purpose weapon within Iran's ballistic missile arsenal, with its quantity limited due to the long-term cost-effectiveness of liquid propellant missiles. The Sejil is also independent of Iran's underground missile bases, as it can be stored in any warehouse anywhere, with replacement missiles stored in any sufficiently large weapon storage bunker. The Sejil-1 represented an entirely new platform for Iran's defense ministry, necessitating a new production line. It is believed that low-volume initial production began around 2010, following the completion of the testing program. However, before the Sejil-1 entered any known widespread operation, it was replaced by the Sejil-2. The most notable difference between the Sejil-1 and 2 is the removal of the thrust termination ports in the second stage. There are two possible explanations for this change. One is that the Sejil-2 employs primarily a maneuverable re-entry vehicle capable of velocity trim upon re-entering the atmosphere, thus creating a precision strike capability. However, this raises the question of how the re-entry vehicle would reliably separate from the second stage, as the residual thrust remaining after the motor has nominally burned out could still create an axial force with a risk of impacting the re-entry vehicle. More sophisticated and newer Iranian solid-propellant missiles solve this problem, but the Sejil was a design of the 2000s. The more convincing explanation for the lack of a thrust termination system involves a technique developed for the U.S. Trident-1 submarine-launched ballistic missile called Generalized Energy Management Steering, GEMS. The system continuously and dynamically alters its trajectory via the thrust vectoring system to remain on course towards its target, until there is no measurable thrust left. Which of the two solutions was used is unknown. What can be said is that the removal of the thrust termination system from the Sejil-1 saved weight, thereby increasing the performance of the Sejil-2. The warhead of the Sejil-1 and Sejil-2, as shown in public photos, is the same triconic design used for the Ghadar and Qiyam missiles. When the Sejil-2 testing was publicized, an interesting claim was made about an integrated jamming capability. This is believed to have been a hint to penetration aids to defeat opposing missile defenses. A number of exo-atmospheric jammer decoys traveling with the re-entry vehicle up until re-entry, combined with inflatable decoys, may hence be a feature of the Sejil 2. It is believed that the role of the Sejil as a special-purpose missile may have led to the creation of Iran's first maneuverable re-entry vehicle, MARV, even before the Ahmad was shown in 2015. The Sejil 2 entered production in 2011. It is the volume production variant of the Sejil. The secretiveness surrounding the Sejil 2 emphasizes its role as a special-purpose ballistic missile. It first appeared more widely in photos and videos around 2020, where it was only shown with a suspiciously different-colored Goddard Triconic re-entry vehicle. This is maybe a hidden message indicating the existence of a yet secret re-entry vehicle for this missile, a MARV that Iran does not want to reveal yet. Alternatively, it may just use the exo-atmospheric release submunition warheads of the Goddard, due to it being its primary payload option. Statements suggesting the existence of a 2,000-kilometer range anti-ship ballistic missile indicate that at least one MARV option for the Sejil includes a terminally guided variant, potentially similar to the Chinese DF-21 or the US Pershing II MARVs. The Sejil offers all the key features that would make such an anti-ship ballistic missile a tactical weapon, primarily its on-alert capability for prolonged periods. Besides such an advanced MARV, which would require a pop-up maneuver for target acquisition and an associated advanced guidance system, it is expected that the suspected MARV of the Sejil 2 from 2011 was much less sophisticated, namely a simpler direct descent and precision-only MARV. This MARV would have had a wind correction capability without an evasive function, or the ability to perform a pop-up maneuver, in order to use a short glide phase for a terminal seeker to lock on a target. The Sejil may also provide the IRGC Aerospace Force with a reach beyond the 2,000-kilometer political range cap for ballistic missiles, as statements on its burnout velocity vary between Mach 12 and 14, corresponding roughly to a range of around 2,500 kilometers or more. The high burnout speed could also create re-entry velocities that exceed the nominal capabilities of many endo-atmospheric ballistic missile defenses, a defeat mechanism that Iran has utilized in its Rezvan and Khorramshahr 4 missiles equipped with unitary warheads. The new generation of solid-propellant ballistic missiles of Iran reach similar performance levels as the Sejil 2, while achieving this with just a single stage, thus saving costs. However, the high-end survivability solutions of the Sejil and its on-alert capability still make it a significant asset in Iran's missile force structure. Today, the Sejil 2 remains in service, but has not been further developed because Iran has achieved significantly more advanced technologies, such as carbon fiber motor casings and flex seal thrust vectoring. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video and like our work, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. We will try our best to answer your comments. Your support would be greatly appreciated and motivates to produce more content in the future. Thank you, and have a great day.